Here's my 30-second story with Guinness. As soon as my sister and I get home for the holidays, we don't even unpack. We head straight to our pub. The bartender already knows our order, Guinness and fries. We laugh all night, catch up with old friends, and walk home with faces sore from smiling. It's one of my favorite nights of the year. That was my 30-second story with Guinness.
Guinness Draft Stout. Please enjoy responsibly. Imported by Diageo Beer Company, USA, New York, New York.
The Subaru Share the Love event is on from November 20th to January 2nd. During this event, Subaru donates to charities like Meals on Wheels, and so far has supported the delivery of nearly 5 million meals to our aging neighbors. When you purchase or lease a new vehicle during the 2025 Subaru Share the Love event, Subaru and its retailers will make a minimum $300 donation to charity. Visit Subaru.com/share to learn more.
Brooks Running reminds us that we're all powered by something. Whether it's the me-time energy of a run after a day at the office, the electrifying energy of your first marathon, or the infectious energy of a group run with your friends. No matter what energy powers you, Brooks has gear specifically designed to unleash it. So lace up and let it out. Let's run there. Visit brooksrunning.com today to learn more.
Hey, Fidelity. What's it cost to invest with the Fidelity app?
Start with as little as $1 with no account fees or trade commissions on U.S. stocks and ETFs.
That's music to my ears.
I can only talk.
Investing involves risk, including risk of loss. Zero account fees apply to retail brokerage accounts only. Sell order assessment fee not included. A limited number of ETFs are subject to a transaction-based service fee of $100. See full list at fidelity.com/commissions. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
Walmart Business is in the business of saving you time, money, and hassle. Whether your business started in a garage or is a garage, Walmart Business has the tools to help you get where you're going. Tools like free shipping, multi-user accounts, and just about any item your company needs.
Even a double filtration cyclone dust collector.
Yep, even that.
Sweet.
Walmart Business. It's the Walmart you love. Now for your business. Learn more at business.walmart.com. Terms apply.
Hey everybody, it's Weird Islanders, the podcast, back once again. My name is Dan. That is Mike. How are you this evening, Mike?
I'm quite excited. I'm chuffed to we've got a great guest, a great Weird Islander, or maybe two, to talk about. So I'm in a great mood.
No, I'm excited. And we do have a great guest. He's a returning guest, but you may know him as the managing editor over at Pitchfork. He is our friend, Matthew Strauss. Matt, how are you tonight?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me back on, guys.
It's a pleasure to have you back on. The last time you were here, we talked about Austin Czarnik, and he is a man who was picked up by the Islanders, left the Islanders via waivers, and then came back to the Islanders via waivers in the same season. You have now returned to Weird Islanders podcast. You feel a kinship with Austin Czarnik now that you're sort of returning to a home that you had made for yourself that you had once left.
Yeah. And I mean, I think the next step is that I have to go live in obscurity in Europe.
Well, don't do that. Then if you do that, then the next time we have you on, we'll have to work a whole time zone thing. It would be very bad.
Yeah, I could hopefully, be more clued in for weird Iserlohn roosters and all that kind of thing.
Where is Czarnik playing now? He went to Europe?
He went to Europe. I don't actually know where he's playing, hence the obscurity.
Yeah, he's somewhere in the Swiss league. Lausanne.
Oh, wow. See, I just thought he was still with the Red Wings.
Yeah, well, that's how these things go.
I guess so.
But no, he's in, I'm sure I'm butchering the pronunciation, but Lausanne, over there in the Swiss league with Gavin Bayreuther, who I remember from the Blue Jackets, I believe.
Yeah.
And their captain is Michael Raffle.
Wow. Holy crap.
Yeah.
How old is Michael Raffle?
Michael Raffle is 36. He's 36 years old and over there. But I wanted to give a special shout out to honored member of Lausanne. I'm sorry, Cristobal Huet, who I really he's not playing anymore. He's just an honored member. I have fond memories of him from the 06-07 season because he was in goal for the Canadians, I believe, in that game against the Maple Leafs they had to lose. And he just had such a great look in the net, like very red and very, very blue stuff going on with Cristobal Huet.
My God. Wow. I'm learning so much, and we're only like 5 minutes into this episode. This is incredible. I really appreciate that. But yeah, no, all this time I thought Austin Czarnik was playing in obscurity in Detroit and right here in Michigan without not even having to fly internationally. But there you go. So Austin Czarnik, congratulations on playing on such a star-laden team. But we're not here to talk about Austin Czarnik. We've done that already. We are here, though, to talk about another guy who is an active player. Only this one is still in the NHL. Before we reveal our player, Matt, what is it about the active guys that really draws you when it comes to picking people for Weird Islanders, the podcast?
I want to feel fondly about them. And I think, everybody does feel fondly about who they pick for the podcast. But, I really have no bad memories about this player. I thought he was a good player. I wasn't disappointed when he stopped being an Islander, but I wouldn't have minded if he kept being an Islander. So I wanted to pick somebody who, we could have fun talking about, where we're not going to be going through a blooper reel or anything like that.
Yeah. I mean, it would be nice if we had a blooper reel. I could barely find any video on this guy. So there you go, especially not as an Islander. But let us finally reveal the subject of tonight's episode of Weird Islanders, the podcast. So Matthew Strauss, will you please do us the honor? Who is tonight's Weird Islander?
Tonight, we're going to be talking about left-handed defenseman Parker Wotherspoon.
That's right. Parker Wotherspoon. Some people are listening to this probably thinking, who the hell is Parker Wotherspoon? And then there are going to be people listening to this going, you know what? They really should have kept Parker Wotherspoon. So I'm very interested to see how the split is here. Before we get into all that, reminder that we are on Patreon, patreon.com/Islanders Anxiety. Membership gets you ad-free episodes, bonus content, written posts, and a whole lot more. So sign up today, just like Matthew is right here, is a patron. Sign up today, patreon.com/Islanders Anxiety. Okay, Matt. So Wotherspoon is the pick. Again, a lot of people may remember him being an Islander. We're going to get to his other stops soon. But some people probably had never heard of this guy. So what made him jump out? You said you wanted to pick a guy who had, at least not necessarily fond memories of, but no bad memories of. How did he end up being the guy you picked?
He played a good role for, I don't know, how many games did he play? 12 games with us. Yes. And I think what drew me to him is that if you had told me he played 3, I would have said, okay, I'm probably exaggerating the memory a little bit. But if you said he played like 67, I would have been like, yeah, because he was just a mainstay and someone you could kind of, for a very short amount of time, rely upon. And he kind of played, as I remembered in rediscovering, my love for Parker Wotherspoon, he played during a weird time for us. Like, this was Lane Lambert's first season. We didn't get off to the best start after Barry Trotz left. And, everyone was kind of writing us off. And obviously the team made the playoffs that season. And, if Parker Wotherspoon didn't give us kind of 12 good games, then maybe we wouldn't have made it in.
That's fair, I think, to say. In fact, I'm looking at his the game log now, and his first 3 games with the Islanders were all wins, which had to be a pretty rare feat because I don't remember them stringing together that many wins that season. Mike, when you hear the name Parker Wotherspoon, what is the first thing that comes to your mind?
Grant Hutton.
Because they're basically the same guy, right? Like,
yeah, I feel like it's a this is why I love doing this show, and I love how diverse the players and the careers are, because to me Parker Wotherspoon is every NHL organization has a Parker Wotherspoon and a Grant Hutton, and they're both competing for the same exact role, which is the Grant Hutton role of in case of emergency defenseman, if you lose like Sebastian Aho, Adam Pelech, in within the first 4 minutes of a game in Ottawa, like you're like, oh God, we'll get Grant Hutton on the phone. But Parker Wotherspoon could have been that guy for the Islanders, and he was for a little while. But in a weird way, when you think of Grant Huttons and Parker Wotherspoons, you think of very, very low ceiling, sort of stable floor kind of players. Like, you know what you're going to get out of them. But it turns out that Wotherspoon was more than that. Like, he ended up, he's now got himself, he's an NHLer. Like, he's an NHL career guy. Grant Hutton is not. I don't think he's, as we record now, has signed anywhere. And also what Matt said about Parker Wotherspoon, not to make this a Grant Hutton episode, but I would say the same thing about Grant Hutton, which is like, yeah, if you tell me when he retires, he played 79 games for the Islanders or 13, I'll believe either one. But Wotherspoon, I guess more and much more so than Hutton, kind of played the role to like where you want it as a coach, where you're like, okay, like this is the number 9 defenseman he's now the number 8. And then he slowly kind of climbed the depth chart. And as you said, like he burst out onto the scene with 3 straight wins. I remember them. They were, if you remember that season, right before and after the Christmas break, they had they had like a very impressive kind of run where they crushed the Panthers. I believe that was the game that Atu Ratu scored. Am I wrong there?
Right. Yeah.
And then, or is the next game it was the one he scored, and then Oliver Wahlstrom got hurt against the Penguins, but they played really well. And then they beat the Blue Jackets. And you're like, oh wow, like this team is maybe they're getting their act together, and then they go on the Pacific Northwest road trip, and we all wanted to jump off the ride pretty quickly there. But Wotherspoon throughout all that kind of just did his job, which was be a little bit better than Grant Hutton, and he did it really well enough to be put on another team's radar.
Yeah, and that's going to be, I think, the moral of the story for most of this episode is just a guy kind of doing his job, and that can take you a long way, and it can put you back in the NHL, even if you do it in a very unspectacular, very incredibly unsexy way. There's value there, and I think people will notice that. Certainly, teams will notice that because, like you said, he's still playing in the NHL. We'll get again to his other stop soon, but I want to start with this. So Wotherspoon was drafted by the Islanders in the 4th round of the 2015 draft. If the last name is familiar, that might be because his brother Tyler was drafted a couple of years before that by the Calgary Flames in the 2nd round. And I thought that Tyler was kind of a big deal. I remember hearing his name a lot. Apparently he didn't really play all that much in the NHL, much more than Park. In fact, now at this point, he has played decidedly less games in the NHL than younger brother Parker. So congratulations on winning that battle, Parker Wotherspoon. So 4th round, 2015 draft out of Surrey, British Columbia. We'll get to his home province again in a little bit. But I want to start talking about Parker Wotherspoon with talking about AHL Bridgeport, both the Sound Tigers and the Bridgeport Islanders, because this man logged, and here we are talking about only playing 12 games for the New York Islanders. For the Bridgeport Sound Tigers and later Bridgeport Islanders, this man played, I'm not kidding you, 293 games in the American Hockey League. Friends, let me tell you, that is a hard 293 games, all right? That is a lot of long bus rides. That is a lot of getting beaten up on the ice and wackadoodle places in front of very few people. That is, having to play 3 games in 3 days, and then having a week off, and then having to play, at 11 o'clock in the morning in front of a bunch of kids or something. Like, that is very, very hard. And in preparation for this and looking at my notes, I thought to myself, geez, I almost have, if you told me that you had somebody who played 293 games in the NHL, which is a lot of games, and like that's worthy of praise, and like that's something that most people won't get to do, and 293 games in the AHL, I feel like I'm almost more impressed by the AHL number than the NHL number, because in the AHL, it's tough, man. Like, not that the NHL is a piece of cake, but like in the NHL, you've got chartered planes, you've got nutritionists, you've got top flight, training facilities, all this kind of stuff. They take care of you. You don't get that shit in the AHL. Like, you just don't. And so when I saw that number, I was like, holy smokes, that's a lot. And then I was like, man, how long was this guy in the Islanders system? Turns out it was a really, really long time. But yeah, 293 games in the AHL. Let's not even talk about the New York Islanders stuff. That, like, when you hear that number, like, what's the first thing that you think about? Like, holy crap. All I think of is like, man, how many bruises and broken God knows what has this guy endured over almost 300 games in the minors?
Yeah, I mean, our new general manager loves to talk about all the time that he spent in the minors and how valuable that was, especially with Bridgeport's 24-25 season being historically inept. He's just
that's another thing too. He played 293 games for a really bad team.
Yeah. I don't think he might have had fewer playoff games in Bridgeport than he had professional games with the Islanders.
Right. Oh yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's very impressive. And the funny thing about his Bridgeport career, I don't watch a ton of Bridgeport. I started to watch some of it around 21, 22. Love hearing Alan Furing call the games. He calls a great game, even on AHL TV. And he kind of played the same as he did professionally, which is, you had other guys around him who you'd be more excited to see, whether it's, a Robin Salo type or Samuel Bolduc. But as Parker Wotherspoon's always on the ice, and he's just kind of doing his job. But he never stood out in Bridgeport. He clearly played well and played a ton. But, he wasn't filling up the stat sheet.
No, he is an all-timer down there.
Yes.
293 games puts him 7th all-time for the Sound Tigers. Behind Seth Helgeson, who might never be caught at 454 games for the Sound Tigers, which I don't believe is true, but I'll believe it if Elite Prospect says it's true. It's true. Okay.
I think because I know Hockey DB broke out Bridgeport Sound Tigers and Bridgeport Islanders in two separate things. So I think he actually technically Wotherspoon might be 4th all time in the team's
Sound
all-time
Tiger
games
era?
playlist, but math is not my strong suit, so I'm probably wrong.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the great thing about the AHL, right? I mean, I used to work for minor league baseball, and as baseball is, like, they're so meticulous about record keeping and even down to the rookie leagues and or the Dominican leagues, and they know all the records and everything. And I feel like the AHL, it's like, who played last night? Do you remember? Was it Jeff Kubiak? I can't remember. Well, we'll just give it the game played to Kubiak. But he, according to Elite Prospects, he's 7th all time. But this is a hanging Chad situation. We won't know for sure. But the names around him are great. As I said, Helgeson and Mark Watton are 1-2. Aforementioned Jeff Kubiak, and then there's Jeremy Colleton, Kyle Burrows, Cole Bardreau, then Wotherspoon, and he is also among the top 15. He's 12th in penalty minutes, and going through the all-time leaders list here was just a wonderful walk down memory lane, because right in front of him is Drew Fata, who was Grant Hutton and Parker Wotherspoon a decade before them. And got luminaries like Pascal Morency, obviously the beloved Michael Haley. Number 1 is Brett Gallant, and he is just ahead of Eric Goddard. So a lot of really just great names out there. And I will now ask you guys one trivia question here. The top, and I'm taking away any sort of minimum game played minimum of points per game leader for the Bridgeport Sound Tigers. You know him very well. That'll be the only hint, because I don't want you guys thinking it's, I don't know, Jason Krogh or someone. You know him very well. He played 11 games for Bridgeport, and he is their all-time leader in points per game at 1.55, putting him just in front of some guy named Mike Omiccioli and Mike Sillinger, who played 3 games for the Sound Tigers. So can you guess who it is?
Matt, as our guest, you may take the first guess.
Yeah, this is tough, because
it is tough.
It's hard to remember who would have only played, 11 games. I know this is wrong, but I feel like it's on the right path. This the right kind of guy. It's not. Is it Brock Nelson?
It's in that kind of realm. Yeah, like that kind of group, the uncles. It's one of the uncles.
Okay, because my guess was going to be one Josh Bailey.
That is correct. Yeah, Josh
I
Bailey.
kind of figured because
17 points in 11 games. And if you stripped out, like, if you actually got like a sizable sample size, like I don't know, whatever. The leader is Jeff Tambellini, who had a whopping 138 points for the Sound Tigers in 113 games. But anyways, yeah, that's just because if we want to go down the Sound Tiger rabbit hole, we're gonna end up talking about Jeff Tambellini at some point.
I wonder if Bailey ever sees Tambellini. Tambellini is now like an assistant GM with the Lightning. I wonder if he ever sees him, and it's like, I have a better points per game average than you in the AHL, and you played 102 games more than I did. I feel like Josh Bailey would have to be a very different person.
Yes,
but no, that is impressive. That's pretty wild. But so I mean, listen, none of us are Bridgeport experts. We don't really watch the games that much, but still, like 293 games in the AHL for anybody is a lot. And I'm sure that, like we talked about Grant Hutton, we've mentioned Seth Helgeson. These guys have put a ton of miles on the buses between Providence, Hartford, Springfield, Utica, Lehigh Valley, all these Hershey, all these different places playing in weekends, and it's rough, man. And again, Bridgeport has not been good, and so that's got to be a demoralizing thing. But I mean, as far as I know, Wotherspoon has always been ready and played, and was ready for a call up, and we'll get to his call up again soon. But I want to pause Parker Wotherspoon for a minute while we're on the subject of Bridgeport Sound Tigers and take a detour, because Matt, you found a box score here that does involve Parker Wotherspoon, but it involves a lot of other luminaries as well. And it gets us to another bonus Weird Islander. We love it when we can touch upon bonus Weird Islanders within a Weird Islanders episode. And so please talk to me about this game that you found. It was from March 10th, 2021. Final score, Providence 3, Bridgeport 0, which is, I think, a very common score for the Sound Tigers organization from a number of teams. But what is it about this team, this particular box score that stuck out to you, and what made you come up with the bonus Weird Islander that we're about to talk about?
Yeah, so I wanted to find something that involved this bonus Weird Islander. So I was Googling Parker Wotherspoon's name, Googling this other guy's name, and they've played a bunch of games together, and I clicked through a bunch of box scores, and this one stood out of just, oh my God, this is a Hall of Fame lineup of Weird Islanders, and just a weird result involving the game. So this game, which I didn't watch, you guys didn't watch, I think the players' parents didn't watch. But, in the lineup for this game, first, the starting five, at center, you have Cole Bardreau, Weird Islander, incredible, with the penalty shot goal, Jeff Kubiak, and who was the third forward? Tom Kuhnackel, who's also been featured on this show and great episode. And then on defense, you have Mitch Van de Sample and the aforementioned Grant Hutton, because it wouldn't be a Bridgeport game without Grant Hutton. And in net, you have Jakub Skarek. I'm looking forward to when he kind of becomes eligible for Weird Islanders. I guess it's like you got to be retired for however many number of years. Because without spoiling anything with Jakub Skarek, my favorite thing about him is when Andrew Gross, who is the best, made Lou Lamoriello think that he had signed an entirely different goalie at the press conference during training camp last year, because the way Andrew says Skarek's name is Jakub Skarek. And Lou just looked absolutely confounded. I don't know who the hell you're talking about. So Skarek's in net. Also on the lineup that night, Seth Helgeson, of course, captain of the team. Tanner Fritz wearing an A. You have Sam Bolduc. You have Bodie Wild, banished by Lou to God knows where. Kyle McLean, Simon Holmstrom. So Bridgeport made good. You've got Andrew Ladd spending some time down there. And you have Stanley Cup champion AJ Greer. But featured in the lineup also for Bridgeport is the other Weird Islander that we can talk about, and that is Dmytro Timashov. He was a -1, but he led the game with 5 shots, both Yeah, more than anybody in Providence. And as you said, Dan, 3-0 shutout for Providence. In net was a first-year pro from Alaska named Jeremy Swayman. And Jeremy Swayman, he only played 14 games in the AHL. But considering his, quality when he got to the NHL, you'd figure he'd have had success down in the AHL. This was his only career shutout in the AHL. So, of course, it would happen against the Islanders, who just make a living out of letting rookie goalies shut them out in no matter what league they're playing.
A tradition like none other. Yeah, that's an amazing rundown of what seems like a very innocuous game, but like you said, has a lot of kind of interesting tidbits in it for lovers of Weird Islanders. Bobo Carpenter,
yes.
Bob Carpenter's son, also in this game, I noticed as well.
Yes.
Yeah, this is really something here. And Timashov is a really interesting player because here we are talking about Parker Wotherspoon only playing 12 games for the Islanders. If you had told me that Dmytro Timashov had played 48 games for the Islanders, I would believe you, because I thought he was there for an entire season. I cannot believe this man, who the Islanders picked up off of waivers from the Red Wings in February of 2020, would only play one game for the Islanders. Like he's a one-game Islander. Now, a lot of that was due to COVID. Like, obviously, they picked him up off of waivers. The whole world shut down. They brought him back. They actually re-signed him the next year, but he only played one game for the Islanders, which I was shocked to find out because for me, I thought he was like Pierre Engvall. Like, what am I crazy? Like, but then I'll get to why I thought that in a minute. But like, what made Timashov stick out to you, Matt? You're like, holy crap, I want to talk about Timashov.
It's really the exact same reason as you pointed out, because maybe it's his name. He's got a cool name or a distinctive name. But he's somebody who you think spent a long time with the organization. But yeah, one game, I think 8 some odd minutes, and it was during the bubble season, where they're only playing in the branded weird Eastern Division. Didn't make a difference. Really didn't even play that much for Bridgeport. I think what also made me want to pick him is that he's bizarrely a Lou guy. Like Lou absolutely loves him, or seems to love him. He was drafted by Toronto in 2015, and then like a month later, Lou came on board with Toronto. So I don't know how much credit we can give him for, plucking him out of Sweden, but he signed him to his entry-level contract. He played a decent amount of games with the Leafs. And then, we traded future considerations for him. And he just always stuck around, and he got a second deal. I don't know if we're jumping too far ahead, but there's not much to share with Timashov. So, hopefully it's not jumping too far ahead, but he got invited back to training camp.
Yeah.
And, obviously didn't make the team. And it's one of those things. It's like you guys would talk about when Keith Kincaid got signed to the PTO, eventually got an AHL contract that season, or at least AHL, ECHL, where, the outside world looks at that and goes, man, what is Lou Lamoriello doing? He could be inviting, some hotshot 18-year-old to camp, and instead he's bringing Dmytro Timashov. And then you put yourself in Dmytro Timashov's shoes, and here's a guy who can't even stick in a lineup in Europe. Like, he's gone from Switzerland to the KHL to back to Switzerland. And you have your old boss saying, hey, I want you to come skate with some NHL players. 1% chance you make this team, but at the very least, you get some practice, you get some people to notice you. Your agent can tell teams in Europe, hey, this guy got a camp invite in the NHL. He's pretty good, huh? Like, for whatever reason, Lou just couldn't quit Dmytro Timashov. And I think that's why I can't quit Dmytro Timashov. And I still follow, everywhere he goes, that,
That's so funny.
This offseason he signed back in the KHL. He's Ukrainian, raised in Sweden. And he signed for this team, Admiral Vladivostok. Thank you, Dan. And if I'm not mistaken, they're like super far east in Russia.
Yes.
And his quote, like translated by Google Translate, was like, I just want to be closer to my family. And it's like, what? So like, I don't know, he's a weird guy.
Yeah.
Or at least from like translated quotes or, his career behavior. He's a strange guy, but for some reason, he is just somebody Lou Lamoriello likes. And if Lou Lamoriello likes somebody, I love them.
I guess so. And we know they like him for life. And now a word from our sponsors. VintageIceHockey.com. Over 100 classic hockey logos on t-shirts, jerseys, hats, mugs, and more. Long Island Ducks, Albany Riverettes, Danbury Trashers, Kentucky Thoroughblades, and so many more. Plus a full line of Islanders Anxiety merch with our portion of the sales going directly to the Center for Dementia Research. These incredible items cannot be found in stores, so shop VintageIceHockey.com today. Relax, sit back, and enjoy wine from The Pinot Project. Rosé, Pinot Grigio, or a Pinot Noir that was named a Best Buy by Wine Enthusiast magazine. These wines are delicious, affordable, and available at area wine shops and at UBS Arena. Learn more at thepinotproject.com. And please, drink responsibly. Mike, you and I, we as scholars of the Master Leaf Theater, we follow the writers of the Leafs and we study them and we make fun of them a lot. I feel like you and I might be in the same boat where I feel like Timashov was around a lot longer. I feel like he was a much bigger deal, mainly because he played 39 games with the Leafs, scored 4 goals, had 5 assists, and of course his first NHL goal was against the Bruins.
Now up the boards and he couldn't get it out. Turned it over again. Timashov turns, fires, scores! He's hounded Corrali twice. He tries to get it out. The turnover, and then this little hesitation there set up the screen of Clifton. As a defenseman there, you got to get that stick in the way. Instead, he creates a screen. Timashov with the quick little turn, and Halak is deep in his net, already down, and that's right up and over the elbow. Just a perfect placement off of a turnover deep in the zone. You can see the reaction of Halak. Wasn't happy with himself, but that's a goal scorer's goal.
And I feel like if we went back and looked, there's going to be a lot of people talking a lot of shit about Dmytro Timashov from Toronto that made me think that this guy was a much bigger deal than he was. when in reality, he wasn't. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, exactly. Like that's why. So when he came to the Islanders via Detroit, the only reason I knew who this guy was because I'm pretty sure in hate listening and hate watching and all that the Leaf stuff, I'd hear this guy and be like, who is Pierre Engvall and who is Dmytro Timashov, and why are these guys talking about these two players as if they are, the next coming of Zetterberg and Datsuk? Like this is out of control, and they must be doing incredible work up there, or very high pedigree prospects. Oh wait, Engvall is a 7th round pick and has like 11 points in 56 games, and Timashov is right there with him and was actually drafted in the same draft as Parker Wotherspoon. So it's, another connection between the two of them. But yeah, exactly. And then this is the great thing about kind of the Leafs, that media atmosphere, is that these guys come in, whether it's Alex Galchenyuk or Aaron Dell, they immediately are put on a pedestal way above like Kirill Kaprizov. You'd think that like Kirill Kaprizov and Dmytro Timashov were peers with the way that these guys get written about, even though one of them is more likely to play for the Marlies or Admiral Vladivostok, captained by Weird Islander Nikita Soshnikov, by the way.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And Shane Prince is on this team too. But they are, as soon as they leave Toronto, they just kind of dust their hands off and move on to the next one, who was probably, I don't know, like Nick Patan or someone. The other thing too is when someone comes who has a Leafs background, that'll seep into the next. It's his like next stage of his career, and people will probably have higher expectations for this player than they should because of how much they know about him through through Luke Fox or Josh Cloak, like digging through their trash. So I feel like when Timashov came, people are like, oh, this is going to be a classic, pluck off a waiver wire type, almost like Gar Snow type move. He's going to be great on the fourth line. And I believe you and I were like, I don't think this guy's just like a shoo-in to make the team. And he got sent to Bridgeport. He played his one game. And the one thing I will say about Dmytro Timashov, which was very true of a lot of players in the Barry Trotz era for sure. This is a very, very handsome player. Like he is, he looks like he could have been in, one of the boy bands in the 90s. That kind of look, great hair, like beautiful eyes. And there's a great picture of him when he played for, I guess, the Quebec Ramparts. So maybe he played for Patrick Waugh.
I think he probably did.
Yeah. Of him like in these like faded jeans, white sneakers, sitting pretzel style on the boards, holding a hockey stick. And it looks like a picture of if you got like Teen Nick magazine or something, and they were writing about one of like Aaron Carter or something. It looks just like that. So I'm sure when he came into the locker room, a lot of the guys probably did a double take and were like, "Whoa, is that Val Filppula again? Like this is unbelievable." Because he's a very good looking guy.
He does look like he could be Val Filppula's little brother. Like that's exactly what he looks like. But yeah, no, he's a very young looking guy. Yeah, boy band is definitely a fun way to put it and an accurate way to put it. But yeah, like you said, you mentioned he played one game for the Islanders.
One game. Yep.
After getting picked up, was a -2 in a 4-3 overtime loss in Philadelphia. He had his contract terminated. He was placed on waivers and had his contract terminated. But then, like Matt said, was re-signed the next year to come back to camp. Again, this was COVID. Things were weird. I'm sure there was some discussion like, hey, you can go back or you can come here, like kind of thing. But did not play again for the Islanders. Barely played for Bridgeport, like Matt said as well. And so to me, I don't know. Again, maybe I'll just chalk it up to sort of COVID fog. But like, I could have swore this guy played a half season for the Islanders. Like, I just thought he was there the whole time. I feel like we talked about him.
I think it's because I think it was because in training camp and like when the move was made, everyone was like, "Oh, this is a perfect bottom six guy. Like he's going to be great." And
maybe
and this is something that happens every summer, right? Like, and it'll happen again at training camp and such. And most of the time, those guys, as soon as like the real games start, you forgot that we wasted breath on the Dmytro Timashovs of the world and. And you kind of just like move on with your life. I mean, it's just I think he just didn't. Everyone kind of just assumed because they went out and like actually like purposefully acquired this player that he was going to be a contributor. And no, that's not how it went. He is one of 30 Islanders to play one game for the team. It's an amazing list. I won't obviously read through all of them. The best player on the list by far is Corey Schneider.
Right.
And some of the luminaries though are former Islanders assistant coach Dan Lacroix, who was Ted Nolan's deputy. There's the great Paul Ledoux, obviously William Dufour, Tristan Lennox, and Ken Appleby as well. The one game contract guys from that insane season 2010 and 11. And of course there was a man named Bruce Affleck in the 80s. I know him.
Yeah. I've seen his name.
So a lot of legends here. And I'd be remiss not mentioning a guy who's also overhyped, I guess. Ruslan Ishrikov, who was also
who could forget?
Yeah,
still out there as well. But yeah, so Timashov came over, played one game, was waived, released, came back, played one game for Bridgeport, and then was released again and went to Sweden. And that is a wild ride for a guy who looks like he should be standing behind Joey Fatone, like singing harmony vocals or something. So Matt, any final thoughts on Dmytro Timashov, the bonus Weird Islander in this episode that you brought up?
Oh, sure. I mean, mostly really just to get some more Master Leaf theater in. But, as I was there's really nothing to learn about him. But I was amused looking through Corey Pronman's 2019 farm system rankings for the Toronto Maple Leafs, which maybe it's just they've downsized in recent years, but he ranked like every guy in the league. They had 26 guys. Number 1, fair enough, Rasmus Sandin. Number 2, Jeremy Bracco from Freeport. Number 9, Pierre Engvall. Then number 22, or excuse me, number 19, Dmytro Timashov, where he spends several sentences saying how incredibly good he is, and then says his issues are that he's small and not a good skater. But
he's great. He's
great.
Exactly.
And the best part really, though, is that at 24 is Mason Marchment and 25 is Pontus Holmberg. So I think that speaks to what you were saying, Mike, about how much everybody loved Dmytro Timashov. And meanwhile, you have, 2 productive NHLers behind him who are just like, these guys kind of suck. They're not going to make it, right? They're not like number 4 Nick Robertson, who I think is still number 4 on the Leafs prospect pipeline.
Yeah, we're just waiting to see what this unheralded prospect untested prospect, I should say, can bring to the table. This Nick Robertson guy.
He's just got to get in the lineup. He didn't get in the lineup enough. He only played 60 some odd games in a season. That's not enough.
That's really funny, but another bang up job by Corey Pronman. I'm sure in the redraft article, Timashov was a lot lower because at that point, now knowing what we know, we can move him down. But anyway, no, I'm glad you brought him up, and you did it in a really funny way too. And so I wonder if Jeremy Swayman thinks about this game while he's counting his millions as a Boston Bruin. Just one shutout in the American Hockey League. Did you mention that Andrew Ladd was on that team?
Yeah. We should spend much longer talking about Andrew Ladd every day of our lives, but that was just, I didn't, if you can have an Andrew Ladd Bridgeport game, that's a treat.
Mike and I spent enough time talking about Andrew Ladd on anxiety to last enough lifetimes, but thank you, Dmytro Timashov for playing one game for the Islanders. Okay, now back to our star, Parker Wotherspoon. We haven't forgotten about him. He hasn't even played for the Islanders yet in our timeline. He still only played 293 games for the Bridgeport organization, but he finally gets the call up in December of 2022. As Mike said, it was a game against the Florida Panthers. This was the one where Atu Ratu scored his first goal as an Islander. I think he had another one before being shipped out for Bo Horvat. And so the Islanders went on a little bit of a run with Wotherspoon in the lineup. They beat the Panthers, they beat the Penguins, they beat the Blue Jackets, and then 2023 started. And it all went downhill. They lost 3 games on their 4-game Western Canadian road trip. However, the one game that they won on that trip was one in which Parker Wotherspoon was not only in the lineup, but got his one and only point in a New York Islanders uniform. It was an assist in a game at Vancouver. And this is where his background comes into play again. Again, I mentioned before, he's from Surrey, British Columbia, and he grew up an enormous Canucks fan. And so he had his friends and family there with him. And actually, this got a whole write-up in the New York Post by Ethan Sears. It's a cute article, tons of cute pictures of the young Parker Wotherspoon in his Canucks jerseys during the Marcus Naslund, basically, era of the Canucks. And I thought this was really, really neat. Like, this happens to a lot of guys all the time. And I mean, this isn't the first person who, play in his home city after a long time, in the AHL and stuff. But again, after all those years, to finally make it there and to finally get in the game and to win that game 6-2 and pick up an assist, it has to have been pretty special. And I mean, I'm sure if you talk to Parker Wotherspoon, who's now played, almost 100 games in the NHL, he's played over 100 games in the NHL. That's probably number 1 on the list, is the time he got to play at Vancouver for the first time with the Islanders and picked up an assist. Did either of you guys get to read this article? I'm sure Ethan Sears doesn't even remember writing this article, but I thought it was pretty cute. I'm a sucker for seeing guys in their old team. Like that picture that they always show of Ryan Pulock in the his whatever Brandon Manitoba Islanders jersey always cracks me up because I just think it's so funny. So I don't know. Did you get a chance to read this article? What'd you think of this? And I don't know. Does this come up at all when you think of Parker Wotherspoon, New York Islander? Is this one game in Vancouver?
Yeah, I think it is his defining game. I didn't read the article. Unfortunately, don't have the Post, but I feel like, did Shannon do a segment during the game? I kind of remember that, but it's also one of those late night games, so probably who knows what they're doing during that. But yeah, no, it was really a great game. I rewatched the highlights and it brought back all my memories from it, like very vividly. As for the point that Parker Wotherspoon scored, He digs it out of the corner to the left of Ilya Sorokin. Just a little pass, on his backhand to Matt Barzal, who takes it all the way into the offensive zone. Great skating, classic Matt Barzal kind of sequence. Passes it off to Casey Cizikas, who rockets one past Spencer Martin, of all goaltenders. Really just a great, so it's like, and they don't even acknowledge that Parker Wotherspoon just scored his first career NHL point because, Matt Barzal, who is also a British Columbia native. Right. So a lot of the broadcasts, as I recall, was talking about how his friends and family were there and he always plays great in Vancouver. How great a play that was. But the entire game is worth revisiting because what it brought back to me was watching it and thinking, boy, do I wish we had a player like Bo Horvat. Like the first goal that he scores to open the scoring 1-0 Canucks. He boxes out Anthony Beauvillier, so some foreshadowing there. Oliver Ekman-Larsson, before he, wins a cup and becomes a Leaf. So at this point, everyone thinks he's an absolute criminal and the worst person and worst player in the world. Shot from the point that Bo tips down and it bounces up over Sorokin. And I was thinking we don't do that. And I don't think Bo has done that since he got here. And then Bo scored the other goal for them in that game. And it was a power play goal from the slot. And again, I was just thinking I would love to have Bo Horvat, and Aatu Ratu scored in that game too.
I was going to say,
So I just remember that game super vividly. And it was like what I was saying at the start, that just Parker Wotherspoon put in a good shift. I don't know how many minutes he played that game. It was probably only 12, maybe it was 19 if he was playing well. But he was trusted and he played well. And, I think there is something about playing in front of your friends and family. And I think, it's his only point he ever scored for us. And I don't think it's a total coincidence. It's not just a fairy tale storybook ending kind of thing. He was on his game that night. Yeah.
He actually played 1646.
That's impressive.
Game. Whereas Ratu, who scored one of those goals for the Islanders, only played 615.
Wow.
Ratu played less time than Ross Johnson.
Yeah, I was just to say 3 minutes left by than Ross Johnson, who had an assist.
Yeah, there was a beautiful sequence, I think, with Matt Martin and Ross Johnston. Just two born playmakers.
Yes,
amazing.
I'm sure the Canucks fans love that.
I remember this game so well, and I remember thinking, because remember the beginning of the Lane Lambert era was the party line was we're gonna still play decent defensively, but we're gonna be more active offensively, whatever it was. And I feel like after this game, everyone was like, this is Lane Lambert hockey, and I don't think so. But Seattle will find out what Lane Lambert hockey really looks like with the Kraken, I guess, this year. I remember this game, going to bed super happy and thinking that I wasn't ever obviously dreaming oh man, we got to get Bo Horvat. But there was a bunch of people tweeting because Horvat was on a true heater that season. That was his 27th and 28th goal, and this game was in January 3rd. And it was a contract year for him, and I just remember a lot of people, tweeting Bo Horvat's shooting percentage bender just continues, and thinking, wow, you guys are not giving this guy enough credit. He was so good in that game, as was Matt Barzal. So just the fact that those two guys kind of ran the show and now are running mates and huge parts of what the Islanders are trying to do. It is nice, and I love these sliding doors moments in hockey, where all these guys have no idea on January 3rd of that year that 3.5 weeks later, Ratu, Horvat, Beauvillier. I mean, even someone like Barzal, who gets he loses his best friend, but he gets the best player he's ever played with, comes in. It's just what a crazy game this was. And of course, it happens in front of Parker Wotherspoon's friends and family. And one thing I will say, you look at this roster now, as I'm, you're looking at the box score on Hockey Reference, and you see the names on this list. I mean, this was not a very good hockey team.
No, no.
It's like there's not that many good players on this team. So it's funny that this team was good enough to get in. And I think there were some injuries at the time here. I don't see like Kyle Palmieri's name and at all, but there's this Adam Pelech too looks like he's missing. But so there were some mercenaries in here or reserves, but
was Adam Pelech's injury why we got Parker Wotherspoon?
I was going to say
first
probably why Wotherspoon's in the lineup.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm also noticing, speaking of defensemen, that Ethan Bear, now Bridgeport's own Ethan Bear, played for the Canucks.
There you go.
So that's pretty wild. Yeah. But yeah, no, this was I remember this game too. But I could have swore it happened after the trade, but I guess that game
they
was
played
on the
very quickly after the trade.
Right.
And it was another bonkers game in which Beauvillier scored the game winner.
That's right.
And that game was Lane Lambert hockey. I don't know if this one was.
A couple of blown leads late. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely Lane Lambert hockey. But good luck with that, Seattle. We'll see how that goes.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
When the holidays start to feel a bit repetitive, reach for a Sprite Winter Spiced Cranberry and put your twist on tradition. A bold cranberry and winter spice flavor fusion, Sprite Winter Spiced Cranberry is a refreshing way to shake things up this sipping season. And only for a limited time. Sprite. Obey your thirst.
Oh, Hilton stay. Your beds are soft and cozy. No lumpy couch, no stiff futon, no shower line at crack of dawn. Oh, Hilton stay, our holiday you're saving.
When you want holiday comfort you can count on, it matters where you stay. This season, enjoy spacious, comfortable rooms and friendly service when you book with Hilton instead. Hilton for the stay.
This episode is brought to you by McAfee.
Finish your fantasy lineup?
No, but I'm joining this paid group chat with insider info.
Dude, seriously? Forward it to me. Security alert from McAfee. That group's as legit as that knockoff jersey you're wearing.
McAfee's scam detector is available in all McAfee plans for as little as $39.99 for your first year. Learn more at McAfee.com/online protection.
This episode is presented by State Farm. Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. It's like needing the protection of an offensive guard on the football field, but getting an elementary school crossing guard. Sure, they're both guards, but you can only trust one to keep your quarterback safe when the game is on the line. So don't settle for just any insurance when there's State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
But yeah, so like Matt said, this was Parker Wotherspoon's greatest moment as an Islander. Was this game 6-2 win over the Canucks on January 3rd. They would lose the next two in Edmonton and Calgary, as they always do when they go out to Western Canada. Then they would lose in Dallas in a shootout. They'd lose in Minnesota. We'd win in Montreal, would lose in Washington, and then lose in Carolina. And then that was it. That was game 48 for the Islanders. And then Parker Wotherspoon was, I guess, back in Bridgeport, because that's the end of his run with the Islanders. He was a +2 in a couple of games, ended up as a +5 altogether for what he can. That's it. That's the only stats we have. He had an assist and he was a +5. There's not much else to talk about. And then that was it. He was done. He was back in Bridgeport. I'm going to assume that they didn't make the playoffs that year. And so Parker Wotherspoon's time as an Islander, 12 games played, 1 assist. But then his name pops up again on July 1st, which means only one thing. He's being signed by somebody. And in this case, it was the Boston Bruins who signed him to a 1-year contract. Matt, when you, now we're going back 2 years now, but like, do you remember hearing about this? Did you think, wait, Parker Wotherspoon signed with somebody in the NHL? Really? Like, did it kind of blow your mind, or did this just completely go under the radar and you completely didn't see this happen until you realized, wait, Parker Wotherspoon is playing for the Bruins?
I definitely noticed it. I don't have strong memories, but I know that I would have been watching, TSN garbage or following along on Twitter. So I definitely took note of it. I can't lie and say I didn't. But I wasn't so disappointed. And it's kind of like what I was saying with Timashov is I became such a Lou loyalist that if someone was a Lou guy, then I was like, oh, if he leaves, then I got to consider rooting for, the Dallas Stars. But, despite Lou shepherded Wotherspoon's career, he signed him to contracts, kept him on the team and everything, but he was a Garth pick. And so I'm like, oh, good for him, move on with his career. This is a normal thing to happen when somebody was drafted by Garth Snow and, stopped playing for the Islanders. So I wasn't, too disappointed. I wasn't surprised. I think I was maybe surprised, I guess, that he didn't sign somewhere where it was clear that he was going to be an NHL player. He obviously ultimately was one, as we can discuss, but I think I would have figured he'd go to Chicago or San Jose.
Right.
But he clearly took like a Providence deal and had to kind of work his way into Boston.
Right. Mike, what about you? Do you remember?
Yeah. So I remember it. And I don't know, I feel like a lot, like with a lot of these guys, I kind of always assume that they're still going to have a way to impact the Islanders or Islander fans' lives, and Parker Wotherspoon certainly did. One shining moment, which we'll get to, I think. Same with Jacob Skarek, right? He's now with the Sharks after he signed in Europe, then he signed with the Sharks, and I actually texted Matt like, I can't wait for this guy to shut the Islanders out in like his only game with the Sharks. So like I always just assume that it's not as simple as it'll come back to bite us, but their stories are just not over until they're out of the league. And Parker Wotherspoon's story obviously continued with the Bruins, and he had one moment in that first year with the Bruins where my heart. He made my heart stop. The Maple Leafs and Bruins were playing Game 7 of their first round series. The Bruins were up 3-1 in that series. They kind of made the Leafs look like idiots. Everyone threw dirt on their grave way too early. The Leafs won the next two games in heroic, brave, just the absolute bravery of coming back from 3-1 to force a Game 7. Parade, key to the city, all that. And we get to Game 7. It's tied 1-1 very late in regulation. Very, very late, like 10 seconds left in regulation. Jeremy Swayman had played so good that entire series. And so now him and Wotherspoon are now teammates after being foes in that famous Bridgeport Providence game that we talked about, where Andrew Ladd played. And a puck gets sent to the middle of the ice with like 3 seconds left. I think it was Mitch Marner who passed the puck to the slot, and you're just looking at this puck. I was in bed watching this, with Emily and being like, this puck moved so slowly across the ice, and my heart just completely stopped beating. Because there's a lot of humanity going on in front of the crease. And I'm like, if this thing pings off of someone's skates and goes in, and the Leafs win this game with 1 second left in Game 7 in 1 second left in the third period of Game 7, I'm never going to watch hockey again. Like, that's it. the podcast would be very different. It would be you and someone else, because I just wouldn't be around to do it. And it hits off Parker Wotherspoon's skate. And it had no business doing that. Like, Wotherspoon that puck should have been 300 feet away. I don't know if he could get a stick loose or whatever, but it hit off his skate, and it just slowly is trickling. And I think Swayman makes his best save of the game on this play, because if with that little time left, the goalie's kind of like just sees a puck get thrown to the middle of the ice. Maybe they take the foot off the pedal for a second and have like a a split second where they just aren't thinking and the puck ends up in the back of the net. We see it all the time against the Islanders. And luckily, Swayman was completely alert and made the save. And I was so angry at Parker Wotherspoon, even though it didn't happen. And being like, I knew that this guy was going to come back into this orbit. And he certainly did. Thank God the Bruins ended up winning that game. But man, I mean, I'm sure there's people out there who remember exactly what I'm talking about. They actually did that Amazon series in the when they did like the Nylander Pasternak episode. They slowed down time even more for this play, and it's. I'm like, God damn, I can't believe Parker Wotherspoon almost ruined everything. But luckily he didn't. So
because then everybody would blame the Islanders for the Leafs winning.
I would be like, I can't believe you. I can't believe we let this guy go so that he could kick a puck in to help the Leafs beat the Bruins.
That would have been really, really bad. But we should say that Wotherspoon, besides that one potentially disastrous event, did have a really, really good year, especially his first year with the Bruins. In fact, he scored his first NHL goal. So he's got that going for him. After this one assist with the Islanders, he finally scores a goal in the NHL for the Bruins against the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Set up the opening goal scored by Trent Frederick. Pasternak sent it left of the net. Fired and score! Parker Wotherspoon, his first NHL goal! Wow, it comes against Vasilevsky. He wires it over the blocker. Bruins 2, Lightning nothing.
And Pavel Zacha comes right off the bench and makes himself available in the middle of the ice. It allows Pasternak to post up at the offensive blue line. Now you got entry. Zacha takes people with him, and then it opens up that lateral pass. Great timing by Parker Wotherspoon, and he's able to catch, take a little half stride, reset, and rip it up over the blocker.
And plays really, really well. And I mean, listen, we're not Bruins fans. I don't expect you to know the roster inside and out or anything, but I'm going to read you the lead of an article. And I want you to think about what Bruins defenseman from 2023 you might think that this lead is about. Here's the lead. It's from a Boston Globe article. And it goes like this. No matter the assignment, defense partner, or dance partner, the first-year Bruin has proven he is a player his teammates and the coaching staff can depend on. What player do you think that they're talking about in this case?
It's either got to be Hampus Lindholm or Parker Wotherspoon.
Mike, who would you guess?
I will guess Hampus Lindholm.
I was going to say Brandon Carlo, but I don't think he was his first year there. This sentence is about Parker Wotherspoon. Like, that's insane to me. I mean, no offense. I'm not trying to make fun of the guy. Like, good for him, but like, what? Okay, I get. So I don't know. I found another glowing article in the Boston Herald that like talking about how great he is, and I'm pretty sure this was from December. I might be wrong, but like he came in, and this is a guy who signed like you said, Matt, just an AHL deal comes up. I don't know who got hurt, probably Charlie McAvoy or whatever got hurt, and now this guy's playing with all these different defensive partners. He's fighting, he's doing all kinds of stuff that the coaching staff is that Jim Montgomery's asking of him, and like that's crazy. It's crazy that this guy couldn't crack the Islanders lineup after playing 293 games for their AHL team. What were we doing?
Yeah, I think he kind of became like a cause celeb for
I think a little bit
for Islanders Twitter, especially because I feel like not that we like the Bruins, but we don't hate them as much as obviously the Leafs or the Rangers or the Penguins. And it's big enough that you get a little more national coverage without totally being the Leafs, totally being, Kane, Taves, Blackhawk, whatever. So you see him more. And so Islanders fans are watching this guy play, and he's playing with good defensemen. He's playing with, guys like Brandon Carlo. And you're like, why didn't we have him? Why are we playing Sebastian Aho when we could have Parker Wotherspoon? So he kind of became like a cult figure a little bit because of how well he played for the Bruins.
Yeah, it's crazy. When I read that, I was like, we're talking about Parker Wotherspoon here? that to me is pretty wild.
He was really good I should say he was really good in that series too. Like, he I trusted him on the ice in that series. until the very, very end there.
Right.
When he lost all goodwill. But it was. I guess that was what was so funny about him and Hutton is like the Islanders kept Hutton around forever, and they kept Wotherspoon, and it felt like they got to a moment where they were like, we can only keep one Grant Hutton, and they chose the Grant Hutton instead of the Parker Wotherspoon Grant Hutton.
I guess so. So I thought that was pretty remarkable to find, because I didn't find really much about his Islanders tenure at all, aside from the Vancouver article. But I found all these articles from Bruins writers talking about how good he was. And I was like, wow, how about that? Good for him. We should also say that there was one other thing that Parker Wotherspoon did very, very well while playing with the Bruins, and that is naming European nations. They did one of these intermission video things like the Islanders do with the Long Island towns. So they had Bruins players spotting European countries on a map. And Wotherspoon ran the table. He got them all. And I was very impressed. I mean, who knows where Switzerland is or what order Sweden, Finland, Norway is in. I don't know, but Parker Wotherspoon does.
Italy, Norway, Spain, Sweden, Portugal, Switzerland.
I guess all that time on those buses in the AHL, we know what he was doing. He was studying maps. So I thought that was very impressive. Of all the videos to find, this is the first time I could say I found a video of a player doing this, and I thought it was really funny. So he plays 2 seasons with the Bruins. They re-sign him, but then this summer, the summer of 2025, the Bruins let him walk, and they didn't re-sign him after 2 years. And he ends up signing with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, the second year in Boston wasn't quite as good at that point. This happens to a lot of guys. They come out on fire. They make a big splash. And the second year, things maybe don't go quite as well. Who knows what was going on? It just happens. But he ended up signing with the Penguins, who are, in a very different position than just about anybody else in the league, as Elliot Friedman keeps telling us, the one team in the league that's not trying to win right now. Enjoy Gavin McKenna. Pittsburgh Penguin, because you heard it here first. But he signed there, and our friends at Pennsburg were kind of like, who? What? Okay, I guess. But there was one particular Penguins fan that Matt found here that seemed to be very optimistic about Parker Wotherspoon, Pittsburgh Penguins, and that is one of Mike's favorite all-time Twitter accounts, Jay Fresh. Matt, what did Jay Fresh say? I can't read this thing. There's a lot of high numbers here. I don't know.
Yeah, he said Parker Wotherspoon signed $2 by $1 million by Pitt is a 2-way third pairing defenseman who did very, very well in that role for the Bruins, all things considered. Maybe he gets a chance at a bigger role with the Penguins. # Let's Go Pens. And then he has his chart, which has him at a 93% projected wins above replacement percentage. He's got he's 86% EV defense, whatever that means. I have some advanced stats on Parker Wotherspoon we can circle back to that actually matter.
Yes.
But Jay Fresh, Penguins fan, chart fan. You asked what my reaction was to him signing in Boston, and I didn't care. I was pissed when he signed with Pittsburgh.
Me too, yeah.
Because because we get this Jay Fresh chart, and and like you said, they're the only team that's not trying. And so he's going to be playing like 25 minutes a night. And, you're going to get these deadline target boards where it's like number 5, Parker Wotherspoon. Could he help the Avalanche? He could fetch a second and a third. Right. And so, I'm happy for him as a person because he's worked hard, and, he'll always be an Islander, and he gave us that game in Vancouver. But I was like, could you have just done that in Tampa? Could you have done that anywhere else?
Columbus, right? Yeah, seriously. Mike, again, I know you're a fan of the charts. You're a fan of the chart slingers on Twitter. This must have been a very exciting moment for you to see our boy Parker Wotherspoon featured in such a way by as unassailable a font of knowledge as Jay Fresh is.
Yeah. Well, like if the charts say that Parker Wotherspoon is going to be the Penguins' number one defenseman and his Norris Trophy candidate. I mean, how can you doubt the charts?
Exactly.
I just love that it's the Penguins who ended up signing him for that reason, because anytime Kyle Dubas signs a guy like this, whether it was with Pittsburgh or with Toronto, the charts come out and they're immediately like, whoa, look, Dubas just unearthed another gem, and you're like, the guy hasn't played for you yet. Like, how do you know? And then 6 months later, when this guy is inevitably on waivers or traded for a 6th-round pick or future considerations, there's just not a peep. And and if there is, it's, well, he did what he had to do. He bought low on a movable asset or something.
Right.
And, he's still yet to put a foot wrong, Kyle Dubas, despite winning one playoff round with the Leafs and completely tanking the Penguins. So still the smartest man in the room. So wish I could have his job and I don't know, public perception, because
seriously.
you got an F on your test. That's because the test was unfair.
Right. Yeah. Well, and everybody let him down. It just it didn't work out. The plan didn't work out. But we should mention that Wotherspoon leaves the Bruins 96 games played, 1 goal, 14 assists. So I mean, this man has played quite 5 times as many games with the Penguins as he did with the Islanders. And he also had 2 assists in 10 playoff games, which is more than he played with the Islanders. So yeah, we'll see what happens with the Penguins. They're going to be, he's going to have to stand in front of Tristan Jarry, which I'm sure is going to be quite an adventure. A little bit different than Jeremy Swayman or Ilya Sorokin for that matter. So we'll see. But yeah, definitely, if it turns out that he ends up being a pretty good player, Kyle Dubas is going to get all the credit. If it turns out that he's not that good and he ends up getting traded somewhere, Kyle Dubas will get absolutely none of the blame whatsoever. And it'll just be, it'll just be, well, this guy just didn't work out, basically. But speaking of, Matt, you mentioned it before, stats that are actually relevant. So Wotherspoon only played 12 games for the Islanders, but you did notice a trend when it came to one of his defensive partners that I thought was actually very interesting. And, this is a guy who's had basically every defensive partner that the Islanders can throw at him, but turns out he seemed to have some luck with Parker Wotherspoon. So take it away. Who did we find played very, very well next to Parker Wotherspoon?
Yeah, I think he's kind of the main character of the Parker Wotherspoon Islanders story in a way, and that's Ryan Pulock.
Yeah.
They just played, and that's part of, as you're asking at first why I wanted to pick him, that's part of the story is he made Ryan Pulock play really well. And and I think they were kind of perfect partners because Wotherspoon's like kind of a no frills guy. Yeah. You need to babysit him a little bit, but he's not totally sheltered. He's not Sam Bolduc getting out for 4 minutes. You can play hockey with him. And so he kind of elevated Pulock's game where Pulock had to be a little safer, but he also had to be a little more aggressive because he knew he couldn't just rely on his partner to do things. And so, I'm thinking, okay, this can't just be in my memory that they played well together. They must have played together a lot. And they played together a lot as far as you can in 12 games. He spent more than 90 minutes with Ryan Pulock. And he's spent, Wotherspoon has spent his entire career playing with only 8 different guys for that long. So, I think that's a decent benchmark. And Ryan Pulock is still Parker Wotherspoon's best partner as far as, a few stats go that, don't always mean everything, but can at least show you, where you are on the ice, how much you have the puck. He's got his best Corsi for percentage, best goals for percentage, and highest expected goals for percentage. And they're like good numbers. It's like a 54% Corsi, 67% goals for, 60% expected goals for. And really even more remarkable is that Ryan Pulock still hasn't found anybody as good to play with as Parker Wotherspoon. He plays with Pelech. He's had to babysit other guys in recent years. And his best partner is still Parker Wotherspoon, obviously the same numbers.
That's pretty funny.
And, so I only like advanced stats when they validate what I already feel.
Of course.
But I think it's true because I think whenever you watch those games, you'd come away thinking like, yeah, they should be on the ice together more often. And it didn't make so much sense when, those 12 games ended that he never got another crack at it.
I was shocked. Obviously, we've seen Ryan Pulock have great success with Adam Pelech, but like, I didn't. And I guess, in a way, Pelech and Wotherspoon are, like you said, similar players. Like, they're no frills guys. They're going to be solid defensively, and so a lot of this stands to reason. But again, much like that lead I read before, if you told me who did Ryan Pulock have these numbers with, I never in a million years would have picked Parker Wotherspoon. Mike, what do you think of this? I mean, are you ready to? Should Matthew Darsh make the trade with the Penguins to bring Wotherspoon back?
I'm sure this is what Fenway Sports Group met with Kyle Dubas.
Yeah,
he brought this up to show why Parker Wotherspoon is a good bet to return positive value on this 1-year contract, and that makes him a good signing for this team. It's an amazing an amazing number.
Yeah.
Of course we who knows when this episode comes out, but I'm hoping that Ryan Pulock is having is putting up those kind of numbers again.
Right.
We'll give him a pass for his post Italian wedding of the century hangover,
the year-long wedding of the century.
Yeah. We'll give him 1 year there, and hopefully he's turned it around, and maybe he can get back to being the guy that played with Parker Wotherspoon.
Yeah, who knew? Should have had him there. No, these are incredible, Matt. Thank you so much for bringing these. This has been fantastic. I hope you've had a great time and on your return trip. And I'm going to pencil you in for a Jakob Skarek episode. So, I mean, unless I hear otherwise, unless you don't want it and let somebody else take it, it's all yours.
I have been foaming at the mouth to talk about Jakob Skarek.
I'm sure you have.
And I'll say, I shouldn't say more because, people are going to have to tune in 2026, 27, 28, whenever it happens after his Vezina. But I'm excited for that. And no, it's been great. I love talking to you guys. Really appreciate you guys having me back on, and just any time that I can spend 1 minute, 70 minutes, 100 minutes talking about the Islanders, I'm happy to do so.
Picking the active players is kind of tough because they're still out there. We don't know what's going to happen to Parker Wotherspoon, but it is nice when kind of everything is out there and we could just sort of talk about it in a current way, as opposed to having to like remember what happened, 25 years ago or something. Like, I remember that game against the Canucks. That's right. So I do appreciate that with these guys. And also it does make me laugh that they're still out there. And the Islanders, this guy played almost 300 games for the Islanders.
Still has a big chance to ruin our season this year.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, he's young. He's only 27. So he's definitely a lot of chances to ruin an Islander season. But we really appreciate you having on, and we'll get you back on again sometime.
Thank you.
Become a member at patreon.com/IslandersAnxiety for ad-free episodes and bonus content, or just join for free to get announcements and our weekly release calendar. Find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible.com, all those places. Anywhere you get your podcast, please leave us a review where you can. Our theme song is Knuckles by Bjorn Falk. Listen to more of Bjorn's music on Bandcamp and Spotify. Read Lighthouse Hockey every single day for your most up-to-date Islanders news and discussion. Islanders Anxiety Podcast are part of the Fans First Sports Network. Shop VintageIceHockey.com. Try wines from the Pinot Project. Any final thoughts on Parker Wotherspoon, Dmytro Timashov, and any of the other guys we've talked about? Andrew Ladd, AHL Islander. I don't know. I mean, we covered a lot here today. But at the end of the day, sometimes just being a normal player is enough. And good on Parker Wotherspoon for translating almost 300 games in the AHL to, what's been a pretty solid NHL career so far.
Yeah, I think that's well put, and I'll leave that to kind of wrap up Parker Wotherspoon. And I'll just add that doing these shows is we're talking about Parker Wotherspoon, and by the end of the episode, the tabs up on my Google Chrome are Parker Wotherspoon, Drew Fata, Nikita Soshnikov, Dmytro Timashov, and Matthias Weinhandel.
Whoa!
I don't know why I got Weinhandel up. I don't remember what led me to him. Maybe he played for like one of you know what? It's probably like the Sound Tigers all-time record thing. And that's what's so great about this show is that somehow these guys are all connected, at least in my brain. And I'm talking into my computer right now, looking at Drew Fata's face. So
definitely. And maybe he'll even get an episode. We don't know. Maybe we could track him down. I don't know where is he at these days. We'll have to find out. But thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate it. We'll be back again in a couple of weeks with a brand new Weird Islander and a brand new great guest. Until then, keep the Islanders weird. We will talk to you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.